I'm Councillor John Sullivan, Tameside Council's Assistant Executive Member for Music, Culture and Performing Arts. I have a personal history with the brass band contests. As a former brass player myself, I've performed in many a Whit Friday contest, and I've conducted bands in the Whit Friday contest. So I know on a personal level just how important they are and what they mean to people in this area.
My name is Jim Griffiths. I play B-flat bass. My regular band I play with is Westwood Over 50. I enjoy playing. It's part of my life. What with classic cars and brass bands is the only thing I seem to do these days. I've played since I was about 10 and a half, 11-year-old. It's probably the best part of my life. I get out on the contest and it gets you out, you meet people.
My name's Jeff Smith, and I'm Secretary of the Broad Oak Brass Band Association, and I'm also Chairman of the Joint Whit Friday Committee. I've been involved with the Broad Oak Brass Band Contest for something like 35 years.
I think the future's bright. I mean, there's one or two bands closed down, but when one closed down, another one starts somewhere. And I think the future's good, and it should be given every encouragement.
But really you need to look at the history of Whit Friday contests to fully appreciate why they continue and why they should continue. I mean, the first contest was held, I think, in 1884 in Stalybridge, so they've got a long established history in the Tameside area. They originated as a result of the Whit Friday processions of witness, in which each church in the area would employ the services of a brass band whilst they paraded round the parish with the scholars of the Sunday schools.
Brass bands in general are extremely important in terms of heritage in this area. In fact, this is probably the birthplace of them. The oldest band in the world resides in this borough, Stalybridge Old Band, which was formed in 1809. And the Whit Friday contests are so important, really important to the people of this area and to the brass band movement. I understand that the first ever brass band contest on a Whit Friday took place in 1870, and certainly by 1884 there were 3 contests going, 2 of them in Tameside and 1 of them in Oldham. The 2 in Tameside were in Stalybridge and Mossley, and the other one was in Upper Mill. It's also extremely important that we keep the brass band movement alive through the young people that are involved in brass bands. A look at the entries into the Whit Friday contest will show so many young people who otherwise get a pretty raw deal sometimes because of the bad minority, if you like. It's also extremely important that young people continue to learn brass instruments and receive tuition and enter bands to keep the whole movement alive in this country. There are some 500 bands throughout the country. When you compare that with a place like Norway, where there's 3,000, it becomes apparent that we really have a duty to keep the movement going. And I think the Whit Friday contests are a perfect way of doing that.
My name's Harry Lever. I don't play with any bands these days, not at all. Never did to any extent. It's helping kids because you have a lot of children. and they come up as musicians. And if they don't hear this music, then they're not going to make musicians. You must look to the children and get them interested in good music. And Whit Friday was just the time to do it.
It's just a good life, especially for young people. Young people get into bands, they seem to stick with it and really enjoy
Generally speaking, not everybody's into brass bands. What it does do is it brings into Tameside visitors from outside the area who have an interest in brass bands. It is unique. It's totally ad hoc. There are no specific times for registering. Bands just turn up and queue to play, or if they're lucky and no bands are waiting, they get straight onto the bandstand. In that respect, in terms of organisation, it is very ad hoc. I don't think that could happen anywhere else with any other form of entertainment. People do travel a long way to visit the contests. At the Broadoak we've had bands from as far away as Norway and Switzerland playing, and even though they haven't won prizes, they've always enjoyed themselves. It's a bandsman's evening. Most bandsmen wouldn't want to miss Whit Friday. They would play as a guest in another band rather than miss out on the opportunity to go around and play on Whit Friday.
There are other bands that come from, like I say, Cornwall. They'll come from Cornwall, and we've had them from Germany, we've had them from Denmark. They just come to say, we've played in the contest. It's a wonderful thing, because it's nothing. Nowhere else in the world do you put a show on like that, all them hours, all for nothing. Brass band contests, when you start with them, you can have them on the continent, you can have them anywhere, brass contests. But you can't have a contest like you have for Whit Friday. Whit Friday, round this area and part of Yorkshire, is the only place you'll ever get proper Whit Friday contest. If you can play, your band can enter. So it's a family thing. Everybody enjoys it. And where else can you go and listen to, say, 40, sit in a pub, all from 4 o'clock till 2 midnight, for nothing, listening to about 40 bands?
It's enjoyed by people because it's a free entertainment between the hours of 5 and 11. There's no charge made to people that attend the contest.
When we're talking about heritage and keeping customs alive and traditions alive, the people that do it tend to be volunteers, and the volunteers are so important in keeping this tradition going. We're so grateful here in Tameside to those men and women that sit there year after year and organise these functions and ensure the continuity of the contests, because without them, they just wouldn't exist.
each contest has to raise its own finance, and in this day and age it's becoming more and more difficult when you consider that each contest's average spend is between £2,500 and £3,000 just to stage the contest.
Another important function of the committees in these cash-strapped days is to be able to bid for funding from external bodies. As everyone knows, councils are slightly strapped for cash, to say the least, these days, and that's probably set to get worse over the next few years. So a very important function of the committees is to be able to bid to external funders for the required funds to keep these contests going. Having said that, we do have some wonderful staff at the council in the arts and events team who will, I'm sure, help everyone who needs to be able to fill those forms out, those horrendous forms, to get that funding. And of course, I'll do everything I can to help keep these wonderful traditions alive.
It's a tradition that we'd like to keep going, and we look for support from whatever area we can to continue with what is probably one of the oldest traditional events in the calendar.